The elixir of life, Sudha Ras. Dr. Ghosh was an eccentric man. One day, he invited 4 of his distinguished friends to his laboratory. 3 of these friends were so old that their beards had turned completely white. Their names were Babu Dayaram, Thakur Vikram Singh, and Lala Karodimal. The 4th was a widow named Mrs. Chanchal Kunwar. Old age had left deep wrinkles on her body. These 4 people were always very sad and filled with sorrow. Their lives had become bitter, and the greatest tragedy was that they were still alive. Lala Karodimal was once a wealthy businessman in his youth, but he had squandered all his wealth in gambling and now survived on polite begging. Thakur Vikram Singh was a man devoted to indulgence and pleasure. He not only sacrificed his wealth but also his health on his desires, and now his body was riddled with diseases. He lived a troubled and melancholic life. Babu Dayaram was once a lawyer and had also participated in some national movements, but for some reason, he had become disgraced, and now no one wanted to be near him. He spent his days in failure. As for Mrs. Chanchal Kunwar, she was once famous for her beauty. For a long time, she had been occupied with pilgrimages to holy places. The respected people of the city, even her close relatives, avoided her. Karodimal, Dayaram, and Vikram Singh were all once lovers of Chanchal Kunwar. At one time, they had almost come to blows due to their rivalry, but those memories had long since faded and had become painful to recall. Dr. Ghosh signaled his guests to sit and said, "Friends, you know that I spend my time conducting small experiments. Today, I need your help with one such experiment." If we are to believe the rumors, Dr. Ghosh's laboratory was a strange place. The room was dark and old-fashioned. Spider webs served as curtains for the windows, and dust had settled on the floor for years. There were several old wooden cabinets along the walls, filled with well-bound books. In the central cabinet, there was an idol of Bhairo. Some believed that Dr. Ghosh consulted this idol in times of trouble. In the darkest corner of the room, there was a tall, narrow cabinet from which a human skeleton could be partially seen. Nearby, between 2 cabinets, there was a dim mirror with a tarnished golden frame. It was said that the souls of Dr. Ghosha's deceased patients resided in this mirror, and whenever he looked into it, they would all stare back at him. On the opposite side of the room was a life-sized portrait of a beautiful woman, but time had faded the colors of both her face and clothes. 50 years ago, Dr. Ghosh had proposed marriage to this woman, but a few days before the wedding, she fell ill and died after taking medicine prescribed by her hopeful suitor. The most peculiar object in the laboratory was yet to be mentioned, a thick, old book with an unknown title. However, people knew it as a book of magic. Once, some servants had tried to dust the book, but as soon as they touched it, the skeleton in the cabinet began to shake, the portrait of the woman moved forward, and terrifying faces started appearing in the mirror. Not only that, but the expression on the Bhairo idol changed, and it began to utter, "Stop, stop." When Dr. Ghosh mentioned the experiment, his 4 friends assumed they would be shown something trivial, like the death of a mouse in a vacuum tube or the microscopic study of a spider web, or some other absurdity, because Dr. Ghosh had troubled them with such experiments many times before. They were not particularly excited about this decisive experiment. But Dr. Ghosh, without waiting for their response, got up and limped to the corner of the room, where he retrieved the same thick book commonly referred to as the Book of Magic. He opened the book and took out a rose, which had once been vibrant but had now turned pale and brittle. The petals were so dry that they seemed ready to crumble at the slightest touch. Dr. Ghosh sighed and said slowly, "It's been 55 years since this rose, now withered and fragile, was once in full bloom. It was a gift from the woman whose portrait hangs here, and I intended to wear it on my wedding day. This rose has been buried within these pages for 55 years. Can this half-century-old flower be brought back to life?" Mrs. Chanchal Kunwar, shaking her head indifferently, said, "It's like asking if an old woman's wrinkled face can become smooth again." Dr. Ghosh replied, "Well, let's see." Saying this, he lifted the lid of a jar on the table and placed the withered flower into the water inside. At first, the flower floated on the water without any visible effect, but within a moment, a miraculous transformation began. The flat, dry petals stirred, and their color gradually returned. It seemed as though the flower was awakening from a deep sleep. The thin stem and leaves turned green, and within moments, the 55-year-old flower appeared as if it had just blossomed. It was not fully open yet, some petals in the center were still curled up, and 2 dewdrops glistened on them. Dr. Ghosha's friends, who were observing with indifference, said, "It's a good trick, but tell us, how did it happen?" They had seen magicians perform even more astonishing feats. Dr. Ghosh said, "Have you ever heard of Zumat, the impenetrable darkness that Alexander encountered on his quest for the fountain of youth?" Dayaram replied, "Yes, I've heard of it, but who ever found the water there?" Dr. Ghosh said, "No one found it because no one searched for it properly. Now, through investigation, it has been discovered that there is a spring of the elixir of life in Zumat. The spring is surrounded by ancient trees that have remained green for centuries. One of my friends, knowing my interest in these matters, sent me a small amount of this water. It is in this goblet." Thakur Vikram Singh, who was skeptical, asked, "Yes, perhaps, but tell us, can this water have an effect on a human body?" Dr. Ghosh replied, "You will find out in a moment. Please, all of you drink this water without hesitation, and your youth will return. I have no desire to be young again because I have endured many hardships to reach this state. But if you wish, I can conduct the experiment on you." With that, Dr. Ghosh took out 4 glass goblets and began filling them with the water. The water seemed to contain some life-giving force, as small bubbles began to rise from the goblets. As they reached the surface, they turned into sparkling sprays and then burst. In addition to this, a pleasant fragrance was emanating from the water. Seeing this, the friends began to believe in the water's properties, though they still could not accept that an old person could become young again by drinking it. Nevertheless, they all agreed to drink the water. Dr. Ghosh, seeing their eagerness, requested them to consider for a moment and said, "My dear and trusted friends, you have lived through life and gained much experience, so before drinking this water, establish some rules for living, so that the difficulties of youth do not destroy you again and you may pass through this dark valley safely. Think about how shameful it would be if, after all your life experiences, you could not set an example of moral integrity for the young." Dr. Ghosha's sermon brought a faint smile to their faces. They did not reply because the very thought of consciously indulging in the reckless and unrestrained behaviors of youth, after having had such bitter experiences, seemed laughable. Dr. Ghosh kindly said, "Now, please drink to your heart's content. I am immensely pleased to have such worthy subjects for my experiment." With their trembling hands, the 4 of them lifted the goblets to their lips. If Dr. Ghosha's assumption about the life-giving properties of the water was correct, then perhaps no one in the world needed it more than these individuals. Their faces showed that they had never seen youth and had been old since birth, as if they had always been worn out, dejected, and grey. They were all sitting hunched over around Dr. Ghosha's table. The thought of regaining youth did not bring any light to their faces. Their bodies and hearts had become lifeless. After drinking, they placed the goblets back on the table. But within a moment, a pleasant change appeared in their condition. Their faces began to glow. A blush appeared on their pale and lifeless cheeks. They looked at each other, feeling as though a true electric force was erasing the marks that the merciless time had left on their bodies. Mrs. Chanchal Kunwar felt as though youth was returning to her. She modestly pulled her veil closer around her face. They all exclaimed with joy, "Please give us a little more of this elixir of life. We are somewhat rejuvenated, but not completely. Come, quickly pour us another glass." Dr. Ghosh, who was observing his experiment with scholarly detachment, said, "Please be patient. It took a long time for you to grow old, so you should not be impatient if it takes half an hour to become young again. The water is here, and you can drink as much as you like." Saying this, Dr. Ghosh refilled the 4 goblets. There was still enough water left in the jug to make half the city's elderly people as young as their grandchildren. As the bubbles were still rising in the goblets, the 4 eagerly grabbed them from the table and emptied them in one gulp. This was indeed the elixir of life, Sudharas. As soon as the water entered their throats, a transformation began in their appearance. The light of youth returned to their eyes. Their white hair started turning black. Another moment passed, and in place of the 4 old men, there were now 3 young men and 1 beautiful and radiant young woman seated around the table. Thakur Vikram Singh looked at Chanchal Kunwar with an admiring glance and said, "Dear Chanchal, you are glowing with beauty right now. Just as morning light dispels darkness, Chanchal Kunwar's face grew more vibrant. She had experienced that Thakur's compliments were not always truthful, so she rushed to the mirror to see her reflection. She still feared seeing the dreadful face of old age. The other three men seemed to be under some kind of intoxicating influence, perhaps because the joy of shedding the burden of old age was making them light-headed. Babu Dayaram was contemplating the issues of the nation, but whether these matters were related to the past, present, or future was hard to tell. Sometimes he would give loud patriotic speeches about human rights, sometimes whisper conspiratorially as if discussing a secret affair, and sometimes speak in a slow, deferential manner, as if addressing a superior officer. Thakur Vikram Singh was humming a tune and tapping his fingers rhythmically on the goblet, his eyes fixed on Chanchal Kunwar's beautiful face. Across the table, Seth Karodimal was absorbed in thoughts of profit and loss, contemplating how much money could be made by cutting blocks of ice from the mountains. Meanwhile, Chanchal Kunwar was smiling happily at her reflection in the mirror. She kept bringing her face closer to the mirror, trying to see if any old marks remained. Despite her fresh appearance, she still couldn't fully trust her reflection, recalling that she was even more beautiful in her youth. Finally, with a slight tilt of her veil, she approached the table and said, "Dr. Ghosh, please give me one more glass." Dr. Ghosh laughed and said, "Of course, take as much as you like. Here, let me fill your glass." The goblets filled with the elixir of life were placed on the table. The fine mist rising from them sparkled like diamonds. The sun had set, so the room was now darker, but a faint glow emanated from the jug, casting a soft light on Dr. Ghosh and his friends. The wrinkles on Dr. Ghosh's face and the pallor of his skin were more pronounced in this light. After drinking the third glass, the youthful vigor surged through the veins of these four people. Their youth was now at its peak. The exhilaration in their hearts was beyond containment. The sorrow, pain, and helplessness of old age now seemed like a distant dream, something they had experienced long ago. Everything around them seemed to have a special charm. The spiritual freshness, which they had lost prematurely and without which the world's delightful sights appeared to them like blurry images, once again began to cast a spell of desire over them. It felt as if they were living in a new world with a new existence. They all leaned forward and said, "We have become young, we have become young." Indeed, this was a group of reckless young people who had been driven to madness by the demands of youth. The most curious aspect of their amusement was that they now felt a strong urge to mock the old age and weakness from which they had just been freed. They laughed heartily at the sight of their old-fashioned clothes. One of them mimicked an old man limping painfully due to the aches of changing seasons. Another put on a pair of glasses and pretended to read the magic book carefully. The third reclined in an armchair and imitated Dr. Ghosh's firmness. Then, they all began jumping and shouting around the room. Mrs. Chanchal Kunwar, in a flirtatious manner, approached Dr. Ghosh. Her rosy cheeks glowed with an enticing and mischievous charm. She said to Dr. Ghosh, "Dear doctor, get up and dance with me." The four of them laughed at the thought of how foolish Dr. Ghosh would look dancing with this beauty. Dr. Ghosh said calmly, "Please forgive me. I am old, and my arthritis makes it difficult for me to move. My dancing days are long gone, but any one of these three young men would gladly dance with you." Thakur Singh said, "Chanchal, dance with me." Babu Dayaram said, "No, she will dance with me." Lala Karodimal said, "I am her old lover. 50 years ago, she promised to dance with me." As he said this, all three men surrounded Chanchal Kunwar. One impatiently grabbed both her hands, another placed his arm around her waist, and the third began kissing her fragrant hair. Chanchal Kunwar blushed, frowned, cursed, laughed, and struggled. Her warm breath, like a cool breeze, had the same intoxicating effect on each of the three men. She tried to break free but to no avail. Such a friendly rivalry for the company of a bewitching lover is rarely seen. But in the full-length mirror in the room, a different scene was reflected. There, three elderly, worn-out old men with bent backs, deformed and wrinkled faces, were embracing an old woman with outstretched arms. Yet, they were young. Their exuberance was proof of that. Overwhelmed by Chanchal Kunwar's coquettishness and resistance, the three men began to cast angry glances at each other. Engrossed in their struggle for the charming companion, they began to scuffle and push. In the commotion, the table was knocked over, and the glass jug shattered into pieces. The elixir of life spilled onto the floor, shimmering like a bright stream. A half-dead butterfly lay on the ground, its wings soaked in the stream. It fluttered and flew up, landing on Dr. Ghosha's cap. Dr. Ghosh said, "Enough, enough, my friends. Chanchal Kunwar, that's enough. I don't like this commotion at all." Everyone fell silent. A shiver ran through them. It seemed as though the old age they had just escaped was pulling them back into its dark valley. They looked at Dr. Ghosh. He was sitting as before, holding the 55-year-old flower, which he had retrieved from the broken pieces of the jug. At his signal, the four people, intoxicated with youthful exuberance, returned to their seats. Though they were still young, this foolish revelry had exhausted them. Dr. Ghosh looked at the flower in the evening light and said, "Alas, this flower is withering again." It was true. Before their very eyes, the flower began to dry up and crumble just as it had when he first placed it in the jug. Dr. Ghosh brushed the remaining water droplets off the petals and, pressing the flower to his dry lips, said, "To me, it is still fresh and blooming." As these words left Dr. Ghosha's mouth, the butterfly fluttered and fell from his head to the ground. A strange coldness, whether on their bodies or hearts, seemed to sweep over his friends. They looked at each other. It seemed to them that every moment was plucking away the youthful bloom they had just regained, leaving behind only blemishes. Was this all just an illusion? Had the changes brought by time been compressed into such brief moments? They were once again four old men sitting with their old friend, Dr. Ghosh. In a tone of despair, they said, "Have we grown old again so quickly?" Yes, their youth was gone. The elixir of life, Sudha Ras, had a more powerful effect than even the intoxication of alcohol. Its effects were gradually wearing off. Old age had once again cast its dark shadow over them. In a state of helplessness, Chanchal Kunwar covered her face with her hands. She felt a deep desire that if beauty was no more, then why not cover it with the shroud of death? The only beauty that remained in her was the grace of wisdom. After a moment of silence, Dr. Ghosh said, "My friends, it is unfortunate that you have grown old again. See, the floor is still wet with the elixir of life, but I no longer regret it because even if the fountain of youth were to flow at my doorstep, I would not wet my lips with it, no matter how long the intoxication might last. I have learned something from you all today." But Dr. Ghosha's friends did not learn this lesson. They made a firm resolve to journey to the fountain of youth, where they would drink the elixir of life, Sudha Ras, morning, noon, and night and enjoy eternal youth.
This story was originally written by Premchand, a legendary author of Hindi literature almost 100 years ago. Do let us know if you like the story. If it so happens that you did not like the story, even then, please let us know your choice so that we can find something you would like to listen. If you like the story, tell your friends as well. If you want to enjoy more stories like these from so many other Indian authors, subscribing the channel would make it easy. Bye for now.